Happy Halloween, everyone! And there's no better way to celebrate than with a good old-fashioned scary movie. 28 days later, The Exorcist, Dracula. But today we're going to tackle the most horrifying movie of them all, Scooby-Doo and the Witch's Ghost. I've got chills already. I already talked about Zombie Island before and how it was a Halloween classic for me, but this one comes a close second. I didn't have the VHS growing up, but it was one of those movies that was always on Cartoon Network back in the day, usually around October.
Cartoon Network's Cartoon Theater presents Scooby-Doo and the Witch's Ghost.
This is when they'd bring out the big spooky presentation for the channel, showing all kinds of movies and specials, and Scooby-Doo was no exception. In fact, in order to promote The Witch's Ghost when it first aired on TV in 1999, they created a weird marathon called the Scooby-Doo Project, obviously a parody of the Blair Witch Project, where the gang was stranded in the middle of nowhere being haunted by ghosts.
Daphne, wait! Daphne, come back! Daphne, stop! It's just Scrappy-Doo!
Yeah, I'm sure the kids loved that reference. They'd show pretty much every one of these Scooby-Doo films, but the one I had a soft spot for is The Witch's Ghost. Or, as it's called on the tape, Scooby-Doo and Witch's Ghost. Clearly someone never passed their English class. Still, spelling mistakes aside, time to check out the tape and experience the spooks. Not much to say about the trailers this time, since they're exactly the same as the Zombie Island VHS. Yeah, completely identical, like the distributor just pressed the copy and paste button. But that's why fast forward was invented, so let's skip ahead to the movie. It starts off much like Zombie Island, with a creepy setting in the middle of the night. Only this time it's an empty museum, where mystery and are on the case yet again.
Professor! Behind you!
Wait, two giant mummy things with deadly weapons? How did I miss out on this exhibit growing up? And I guess it wouldn't be a Scooby-Doo movie without another cover of the theme song, performed by Billy Ray Cyrus.
Scooby-Dooby-Doo, where are you? We got some work to do now.
Product of its time. It's the standard Scooby-Doo stuff, but the gang gets some help from a mysterious new arrival.
Guess you beat us to the punch, Mr. Ravencroft.
Sorry. I didn't mean to upstage you.
This is Ben Ravencroft, a famous horror writer, who I guess is meant to be a cross between Stephen King and R.L. Stine. He's played by Tim Curry, the one man you call on when you want a great voice for your character.
I've admired your work unraveling supernatural mysteries for some time now. I mean, basically, we're in the same business of mystery and the occult, right?
Oh, please. What we do pales in comparison with the sheer, palpable fright of your novels.
Meeting a fellow intellectual gets Velma all misty-eyed over Ben, and he invites them to his peaceful hometown for a Halloween celebration.
It's very peaceful and relaxing. Why don't you and your friends come visit?
Really?
On the way there, we're treated to some quite pleasant background paintings. There's something very nostalgic and picturesque about it to me. I can't quite put my finger on it.
Wow, this color is spectacular, eh, guys?
Amazing.
But it turns out the town isn't so peaceful anymore, with crowds of people flocking into the place to get a glimpse of the witch's ghost who haunts the streets. That doesn't bother the town mayor though, who promotes the ghost as an attraction and an excuse to sell t-shirts.
I met the ghost of Oakhaven and lived.
I should take a leaf out of his book.
You like 'em, kinda spooky.
And there's something about this guy that amuses me. Maybe it's the hair or something, I don't know. Of course Scooby-Doo needs its comedy interludes, and the mayor introduces Scooby and Shaggy to the local restaurant, and it's straight back to scoffing more food.
Why give us 2 orders of everything?
Oh, I love people who love to eat.
Remember how Zombie Island was crammed full of everything you could stuff into your mouth? Well, this scene is even worse. It makes my stomach rumble. Get me 3 cheeseburgers and a pizza right now. Meanwhile, the gang visit Ben's writing study. I wish I had a room like that to make these scripts. And he tells us more about the witch's ghost.
Of course, she wasn't very popular with the town's doctors. Sarah was untraditional in her approach to medicine. She was a Wiccan.
It's revealed the ghost is one of Ben's ancestors, an ancient healer known as Sarah Ravencroft, who was persecuted as a witch centuries ago for her herbal remedies, and Ben wants to find her long-lost journal to clear her name.
That book could finally prove Sarah's innocence and that she was a Wiccan, not an evil witch.
Wiccans have been misunderstood, accused of sorcery. In fact, the word witch comes from Wicca.
Well, at least she wasn't eaten by crocodiles, that's something. That night, the gang hangs around for the ghost to make her grand appearance, but instead, Scooby and Shaggy end up running into 3 strange girls in a dark alleyway.
Like, hi, girls.
It's the Kanker sisters! More on them later. Finally, the ghost shows up and starts blasting at Scooby and Shaggy with giant fireballs, almost like something out of an action movie.
She throws fireballs, man.
They manage to escape, but they run into those weird girls once again, who turn out to be a band rehearsing for a concert.
I'm a Hex Girl, and I'm gonna put a spell on you. I'm gonna put a spell on you. I'm a Hex Girl, and I'm gonna put a spell on you.
So yeah, these are none other than the Hex Girls, the trio that launched 1 million goth girls, and probably boys too. It's weird how I just took the Hex Girls for granted back then, but in the years since, they've grown a huge fan base, even though they don't have too much depth in this movie. They're just kind of fun personalities and they're really well animated. You can tell the effort the animators put into this sequence.
With this little cobweb potion, you'll fall into dark devotion.
Plus the music is really catchy too. Maybe not Sky Cycle levels, but still pretty cool.
We're gonna put a spell on all of you!
Bravo! Bravo!
Of course, 3 creepy goth girls raise the gang's suspicions, and they split up to track down some leads. Fred and Daphne follow the Hex Girls.
Gee, why is it that you always pair off with Daphne, Fred?
Well,
Obviously, he's just trying to make Velma jealous, and the rest of them tail the mayor.
Ah, young love.
That's pretty funny. Meanwhile, the Hex Girls seem engaged in some kind of spooky ritual.
Bad dreams, sisters.
Bad dreams, Sister Thorn.
Do you think this is how their fans greet each other? Aside from brewing up mystical potions, the gang come up short, and they hatch a plan the following night to catch the ghost. But not before more giant fireballs, of course. It's game over for the ghost, and it turns out it was the t-shirt guy all along. And the mayor. And the restaurant guy. And these guys. And the rest of the whole town too. All of them were taking part in one big scam to draw tourists in to see the ghost.
I'm very disappointed in you, Mayor, and all of you, for lining your pockets by dragging Sarah Ravencroft's name through the mud.
Everyone except the Hex Girls is guilty.
I don't believe this, Daddy. Why would you do something like this? You mean you didn't know?
The girls have nothing to do with this.
This must be the goodest trio of bad girls in history. So you'd think this is where the movie would wrap up, and in the original script, it did end this way, with the ghost being nothing more than a fake. But one of the writers realized there was still an extra 20 minutes to fill, and decided to give us a treat. The mayor reveals that in the process of their scam, they accidentally dug up Sarah Ravencroft's grave, where Ben finally manages to get his hands on the book he's been searching for all this time. And this is where it just gets funny.
Ben, that doesn't seem to be a journal at all.
Because it isn't, Velma. It's a spell book. You see, Sarah wasn't a Wiccan. She was indeed a witch.
Yes, it turns out that Ben Ravencroft is a power-hungry maniac who wants to become a magician himself, and you can tell Tim Curry is just loving it.
And since Sarah's blood runs in my veins, I guess that makes me a warlock.
Even in the behind-the-scenes footage, he looks like he's devouring the imaginary scenery. He doesn't even care about pronouncing the words properly anymore.
I knew if anyone could help me find the book, it was you and your friends.
Also an interesting callback to Zombie Island here. I guess Ben was a fan of the movie too.
You can't imagine the real power of this book. No mere mortal can.
This was always my favourite part of the movie, because if there's one thing I love, it's a bad guy going absolutely bonkers.
I shall unlock the power of the imprisoned Sarah Ravencroft. Now I summon ancient power. This is evil's finest power! It
gets even crazier when Ben unleashes the powers of the book, and the animation starts going nuts as well, with all these strange facial expressions. It's like it suddenly turned into an over-the-top anime, with Ben doing backflips and jumping through the air. This guy's amazing.
What's the matter, Velma? Don't you like the new, improved Ben Ravencroft?
He starts blasting lasers, he ties up the Hex Girls, he turns into Christopher Walken.
Can I spin a yarn, or what?
This is like the best villain Scooby-Doo's ever had. I mean, I know everyone's all about the Hex Girls, but we need more love for Ben Ravencroft. Where's his crazy fan club? Oh no, he's on a thatched roof. They'll never catch him now.
This isn't one of your silly little mysteries. You can't solve me so easily.
The gang try to make their escape in the Mystery Machine, but Ben Ravencroft is packing and starts blowing all the tires off. This is classic.
Well, at least we still have one tire.
Finally, Ben summons the evil witch Sarah Ravencroft, and if you thought Ben was crazy, then this woman is certifiably nuts, always talking in ye olde English speak.
Thank thee. Thou canst not know what my bondage hath been like.
I think I'm going to just avoid making a joke there.
Sarah, I want to become more powerful, like you.
Thou jest!
I love how she doesn't even show any gratitude towards Ben for freeing her. She just immediately double-crosses him, leading to even more over-the-top Tim Curry lines.
I shall destroy thee along with thy world!
But I have the book, and I will return you back into the book.
But only someone with Wiccan blood can imprison Sarah, and she traps Ben in a giant glowing hamster ball, so it's up to the gang to get the book back and save the day.
The book cannot help thee!
Somehow it gets even more insane, with the witch sending weird pumpkin creatures after them and even a giant turkey. Is this Halloween now or Thanksgiving? And then Shaggy throws water all over her, which for some reason was always my favourite part growing up.
What was that?
I don't know why, it just makes me laugh. But they manage to free the Hex Girls, and since one of them is part Wiccan, she can read the spell to send Sarah back into the book.
Ancient evil, get thee hence. Only good can recompense for the misdeeds that you have done, which return from whence you come!
But wait, does that mean Ben Ravencroft gets away with it? No, of course not. Just before he can escape, Sarah grabs him in a scene that was always kind of enjoyably disturbing as a kid.
I won't go back alone!
Like, yeah, he's dead.
Ben Ravencroft's last book is one the world will never buy.
So despite the disturbing implications, the movie ends on an upbeat note, with yet another catchy tune from the Hex Girls.
Wind, fire, and air. We may look bad, but we don't care. We ride the wind, we feel the fire. To love the earth is our one desire.
Always a good way to forget you were almost killed by an evil witch and a nutcase warlock. And that was Scooby-Doo and the Witch's Ghost. Definitely still amusing to watch, especially on Halloween. The early portion of the movie gives off a very nostalgic feel for me, and there's some great animation too, particularly on the Hex Girls and the villains near the end. The Hex Girls themselves are a highlight as always, and thanks to his insanity, I feel like Ben Ravencroft is kind of an underrated bad guy. He cracks me up. It's just good fun all around. But for now, the haunting is over. A very happy Halloween to you all, and look out for more VHS tapes coming soon. Thanks for watching. Let me know how you felt about this one in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with your friends. And remember, you can buy a ton of these tapes from the Back to the Past store on eBay. See you next time.
The party is just beginning!